Hey everyone, it's me, Kat Muir from Cheap and Easy Eats, and today we're going to be making something I absolutely love: chocolate hazelnut vegan milk. Hey everyone, so today we're going to be making this really delicious Nutella style chocolate plant milk, and it's so delicious and tasty, and it's very good for you because we're only using 3 simple ingredients. We're going to use 200 grams of hazelnuts, which we've soaked for overnight. You can soak it for a minimum of 4 hours, and the reason that we soak them is to help release the toxins. They start to germinate, so it makes them more nutritious, and they're also very creamy when you start to blend them. We're going to use 12 dates. Now the dates that I'm using are fairly cheap dates. They're not the lovely plump juicy ones that are really nice to eat on their own. These ones are just quite cheap, and the reason I use cheap dates for it is because I just want the flavour from the dates. We're not going to be sitting eating them. The birds and the squirrels get them afterwards as food, so it's not for a lovely eating experience, it's just to give the flavour to the milk. If you don't like it as sweet, you can use less. If you want it sweeter, then you can use more. And as an alternative, if you wanted to, you could use something like maple syrup or agave. We're going to use 2 heaped dessert spoons of raw cacao powder. Now, I like raw cacao powder because there's so many nutrients in it. There's lots of vitamins and minerals, and you can use any decent quality of chocolate powder you like. But actually, if you go to Costco, you can buy a big bag, and it's cheaper than buying some of the other brands, and it's actually got more nutrients in it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. It just gives this really lovely hazelnutty, Nutella-y chocolate milk flavour. So all we're going to do is we're going to blend things down. I'm just going to rinse out the water from my hazelnuts because that's the water they've been sitting in. And I'm going to use 2 litres of water because I want it to be thicker and creamier, and 200 grams of hazelnuts. So that's the proportions. So I'll just be back in a minute. So I've rinsed the hazelnuts off because you don't want to drink any of the milk that the hazelnuts or any of the other nuts, if you're making any kind of nut milk. You don't want to drink the water that it's been sitting in because it's full of impurities. So you have to give them a good rinse and then use fresh water. Now in Scotland we're quite lucky because the water's lovely and you can drink it quite safely from the tap. If you stay somewhere where you can't do that, you might want to use filtered water or bottled water of some form, but I'm just going to use 2 litres of tap water here. So I'm just going to put my hazelnuts in the blender. I'm just going to put my dates in, and always just make sure that there's no pips inside them, because even although they say that they've been de-pipped, once or twice I have found pips in them. So I just give them a squeeze, and you can see they're kind of dried up. They're not like the nicest ones, but they're perfect for this, and they don't cost like a whole lot of money. And for my raw cacao powder, it's just 2 dessert spoons that are heaped. Again, you can put less in or more in if you want. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to add part of my water. So I've got 2 litres of water here. And I'm going to put in about half, just over half. Now, if you want it even thicker, you don't have to use 2 litres, you can use less. But those proportions work out quite well for me. Now, when you're using like cocoa powder, the reason I put that in first is you can maybe see that it's just starting to mix. If you put all your ingredients in and then put the cocoa powder after the liquid, then you just get a kind of explosion of cocoa powder, and it doesn't really do a lot. So that's it, mostly mixed just now. I'm going to put it on, give it a little whiz for about 30 seconds, and then we're going to strain it. Now you can see that's blended down really well, and at this stage you can have a taste of it and see if you want it to be any sweeter or not. And it's quite simple. All you have to do is just add some more dates in, or a little bit of maple syrup or agave if you want it to be sweeter. Usually I find this is fine, but it just smells so lovely and chocolatey. So all I'm going to do now is just take my bowl. I quite like using a bowl that's got a little spout on it because that makes it really easy to transfer afterwards. And I've got a little trick that I like to use. I use it's just a little bag clip, and all I'm going to do is when I've put everything in, I'm going to use that just to hold it in place. Now with the nut bag, again, I've said it on the other videos, but I don't like to use it the way it's supposed to be used. I use it the wrong way round so that there's less bits that the nut flakes and things can get into. And you can see it's quite a fine mesh. And all I'm going to do is put it around the edge there, and I'm going to just transfer my mixture in here. Now, what I'm going to do is just seal it over so that nothing kind of escapes, because you don't want any of the nut meal to go into your drink. That, you know, makes it quite gritty. So if I do that, nothing can go out. And now all I'm going to do is add the rest of my liquid. I'm going to do my best to pour it into the blender over where all the other stuff is. And now I'm going to blend this up, and it just mixes it with everything else, and it cleans my blender a little bit as well. And like I say, if you wanted to make it sweeter, you could just add something in at this stage. So I'm going to just give it a blast. It pretty much gives it a good clean, and you're getting the rest of everything that you need in here. So again, all I'm going to do is pour it in. I quite like this bowl for it because it's got like a little handle piece at the back, and I can hook the nut bag over there. Sometimes it can be a bit awkward if you're doing this by yourself. There we go. You can see there's nothing really left inside my blender. I'll give that a little clean in a second. And then I'm just going to hook this on here, just like that, and that holds everything in. Makes it a whole lot easier for straining out. I'll just move my sleeves up a little bit. And then all we're going to do is just strain it through, a bit like milking the chocolate cow. But if you wanted to, you could dry it off in the oven and just grind it back down, and you could use it to make cookies with or something. I've never really enjoyed the flavour of it afterwards. I feel you're getting all the nutrients out at this stage. It smells really good. And you can see just with the clip, it makes it really easy just to wring out all that milk. And there's not really anything else coming out. Now, what's this? So I'm just dry my hands a little bit, and I'm going to have a taste of it. Now, let me pour it back into the jug I had the water in. And I mean, you can see all the residue in the bowl. I'm going to scrape that out with a spatula in a second. But you don't get that in shop bought stuff. Oh, it smells so good. It's like drinking like a really nice, not too sweet version of Nutella. It's really, really tasty. It's such a lovely drink to have, and you know, usually I cover the top with some cling film. I put it in the fridge, and it's great just to drink nice and cold. It's lovely for breakfast. It's just a really nice all-round, lovely, lovely plant milk. So I really hope that you'll give this a go. I'm going to finish off this and wash out my dishes, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm Kat Muir, Cheap and Easy Eats. Take care. Bye.